Today's episode is sponsored by Zegama Beach Records. Head over to Zegama Beach Records Bandcamp page today and check out the new split by Morn Recife and A Recorded Dawn. Both those bands hail from Victoria, British Columbia, and if you like CDs, you can pick one of those up now. Then coming October 3rd is the new Our Future is an Absolute Shadow and Lucidity split 7-inch. There's only going to be 100 of those, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for it. But that's not all. You haven't forgot about their sister label Tomb Tree Tapes, have you? Demersal just released a 12-inch EP on that, and October 6th is the Ashura Tamsin split tape. Head over to ZegamaBeachRecords.com for more. Hello, and welcome to Everything Remade, a podcast that I hope is about growth as much as it is about music. I'm Edie Quinn, and we have a great show lined up for you today. Before we get started, though, I'd like to remind you about our Patreon page at patreon.com/humanmachine, where you can go and sign up to support the show, read zines, get music sneak peeks, and so much more. That's patreon.com/humanmachine. Your support there really means a lot. And now, I'd like to play something for you. You're hearing Transagion Prayer by Spiritiste, featuring my new pal, Jade Marais, on vocals. The song comes from their debut LP, Excommunication Hymns, which will be out soon.
I started playing guitar when I was in middle school, and one of a guitar teacher at the time introduced me to a metalcore band called The Devil Wears Prada. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, back when I think Plagues or With Roots Above and Branches Below had just came out, and I think that was really the moment where I was like, this is the kind of musician I want to be. I want to be making. Because before that point, I don't think I listened to a lot of music with screaming vocals in it. I had listened to like hard rock, like Audio Slave, and I was listening to like the White Stripes and stuff with my dad, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one was the moment where I was like, no, this is heavier music is where I want to go. And I just got heavier and heavier and heavier throughout the years.
Yeah. Was it just like basically it was all about the vocal then? It was like this sense of urgency that came with like, oh my God, like listen to how intense that sounds.
I think so. I think it was just all of it. I think it was how rhythmic it was. I think it was the hum of a barely palm muted open riff. The complexity of the drums, and then just the mix of harsh vocals next to clean vocals, you know.
Yeah.
I think is really, because at that point I never thought I was going to be doing vocals for a band. I only ever wanted to play guitar at the time, and I don't really know.
Well, what was your like? You mentioned White Stripes and stuff, and you were learning to play guitar. Like, what were your influences there like at that time?
At that time, it was all just anything that I felt I could. So I wasn't really taught how to play guitar. I was taught how to teach myself to play guitar, kind of.
Hmm.
So I took lessons for a little while, and then I've always had a really good ear. Like with the Devil Wears Prada's Plague album, I learned the whole thing on guitar all the way through front to back just by listening to it and just picking it apart and playing it over and over again and going, no, this part's close, but it's not quite what they did, you know?
Yeah. Is that like a
And
drop D or I'm not.
Drop D, a lot of the riffs were exactly the same
All
too.
right. Yeah.
It was like they were 16 years old when they were releasing some of their first albums, you know, so they weren't very complicated and technical musicians.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's so weird too, because like I've heard bands by 16-year-olds now where I'm like, holy shit, I'm still not
Yeah.
writing at this level of complexity, you know? And so it's weird sometimes when you have the exact thing that you would expect, where it's just like, yeah, they're just not there yet, you know? And
Mhm.
this is simple stuff. It's the Ramones of metalcore or whatever you want to call it, you know?
Yeah, I think that was part of the allure to me while I was learning and playing it, was that like it wasn't that complicated, but it was something that I did figure out on my own. And I think I just enjoyed being able to play through something and feel like I would be in my room driving my parents absolutely insane, with headphones on and like daydreaming and fantasizing that like I was not in my room, but I was actually like in the music video or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So, so I could just like fantasize about like being a rock star or whatever.
yeah. It's funny, because I mean that it makes sense because it's like that's really punk rock, like to be that accessible to people who have the desire to learn and to
Yeah.
and I mean like you know I said the Ramones earlier, like, and I didn't mean that necessarily as a slight, like you can slight them for other reasons, understandably, but like that was the first songs that I learned was like Ramones and Misfits, and just by
Yeah.
ear, you know, because it's like, you know, you're like, well, it doesn't sound like there's a lot going on here, you know, and there's really not. So then you're off to the races, and like I guess, you know, then you're like, what if I played the same thing as them but a little different? Then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just wrote
Yeah.
my own song, and like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I've learned a lot of different techniques playing other people's music that I was then able to like take off and make my own shit out of.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I, whenever I think about like the earliest times of myself playing too, it's really funny because like I said, I was like learning like, you know, Misfits or Ramones, anything that was like four chords or less, you know, and then you jump into four other. It's pretty much the same chords, just a different spot on the. But that was like 50% of my time, and like just trying to be able to play real fast. That was real important, you know, and the other 50% was like, well, I was into bands like Fugazi and stuff, and they did stuff that worked on a different part of my brain where I'm like I'm really into like how noises are made, like in Foley and stuff like that. Like oh, that's them breaking celery. That's not bones break. You know what I mean? So like I was fascinated by like, you know, when someone plays the guitar strings above the
Above that.
headstock and you know all that stuff, and you know so like I'm like in my room like unplugging my guitar and putting my thumb over the thing like brrr, and my mom's like, will you fucking cut it? You know, and I'm like, at the time I'm like, wow, what a buzzkill. But now I'm kind of like, no, I get it. Like I was annoying. I was just in there
Yeah.
going like, wee, and all this, you know. But yeah, it's I don't know. it's a path, and it's fun to hear about people's different, experiences down these paths and stuff. So once you heard them, and you're like, yeah, I'm interested in being vocal after not, you know, really feeling that way. Like, did you immediately like start trying to try out for bands, or like what was your thing there? Or was it just like a bunch of like screaming in your car for a while?
Yeah, so I think the first time I tried to start doing vocals was sometime in high school. I think I was I think I was a sophomore in high school maybe, and I had no idea I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I was messing my voice up a whole bunch and annoying the shit out of my family. And like in high school, I had tried to get like some friends over to like play bands and and to like play music and stuff, and we would try to like cover some stuff and songs that I knew I could scream. And when we tried to write our own stuff, I was so controlling that I was like, if the guitar part didn't sound like what I thought it should sound like, I didn't want to do anything with it, you know. So none of that ever lasted because I was a control freak, and no one wanted to,
Yeah.
no one to keep playing music with me.
Were you writing things like by yourself, where you were like having these idealized versions of your ideas and then half presenting them to other people, and it just wasn't working, wasn't clicking?
Yeah, really, I really had a grandiose, because I wanted it to sound like what I was listening to, and if it didn't sound like what I was listening to or remind me enough of this band or that band, then it wasn't good and it wasn't going to go anywhere. And I think at that point I was still naive, thinking that uh, I could make a lot of money off of this. And I think at my point, at that point, I just wanted to make it whatever that meant to me at the time. But I think I had a really skewed idea of what that looked like. So that was really like my only concern at the time, was like, this is the only thing I want to do. So I have to make it work. I have to figure it out. I really kind of screwed up a good bit of friendships trying to do that in high school.
Yeah.
You know,
That's unfortunate. I don't, I don't necessarily like. I definitely had my like. Was in a band in high school and it got messed up, but it was always like, it was always teenage drama. It was never, because like, I don't know, like the other people that I played with, like, I mean, I sh- when I listen to any of that stuff, or I mean, I haven't listened to most of it in so very long, but when I think about it, I'm like, I should have been more controlling, honestly, because we have songs that sound like they're Bad Religion, but it's like there's slap bass in it, and it's like I should have been more. I should have probably been, you know, but no, it's. I mean, the song still wouldn't have been good, so it doesn't matter. We had fun, I guess. Like Roto Toms in this song. No, I don't. Maybe we shouldn't do that. There's a couple of times maybe should have, been like, no. But
now, now
yeah,
I found, as I've matured, that the less I take the more I take my hands out of other people's shit, and trust them to do their thing, the better it comes out.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I always say that you get other people in your band because you want the ideas to be different than what your own would be. But
Well, at the time, like, I was like, well, I can't do all of this by myself, so I have to have other people,
yeah,
and I want to do what I wanted to do, and that
yeah.
was it.
See, and the other thing is like with me, a lot of times when I was younger, of course, it's easier now. Even if people don't live in the same city or whatever, it's easier to like collaborate with people. It's easier to like if you did make an album all yourself to get people to come and play with you, you know, or whatever. But when I was younger, that was, you know, like I'm from the before times. Like people had to live in your town
Yeah.
to be in a
Yeah.
band with you, and so it was like, well, this person really likes Randy Rhoads, this person really likes Les Claypool, and this person really likes Chad Smith. So you can write your songs that sound like Bad Religion, and it's gonna be weird. And if you think you can get anybody else to play with you, like good luck. So it wasn't a matter of like I respected them as people and as musicians, but we were not looking for the same results like at all, and that's the big difference to me, right? Is because now you're able to be like, are we all on the same page at least? And so you can be like, yeah, whatever you do is going to be good, you know, because you can
Yeah.
have that like trust as far as like that you're on the same page, you know. But I don't know. And then every once in a while, I don't know. Sometimes I will ask someone who I think is going to do something really weird, something really out of pocket, and then they more or less follow the lead, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn, that's really good, like, because they understood the assignment or whatever. But I was thinking, oh, this person usually does real weird stuff. Like they'll do something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but that's, you know, not like, I don't think that's the kind of thing where it's like this wouldn't happen in if it was a band that was like all in the same room, because you'd just be able to hash that out, right? You know.
Yeah.
So like how long was it before, like when you were just like sort of going through your first like attempts at like getting a band together and things like that? How long was it before you sort of started like being able to meet people halfway and like, you know, make like music that you were like recording or playing at shows or whatever?
Yeah. So the band that I was in, uh, that I count as my first band, uh, was a like instrumental math rocky kind of thing that I was playing bass for, and we were called Beyond the Lake. Um, and that was like one of the that's when I really was like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all do whatever y'all want to do. Y'all do what you do, and I'm gonna write the bass lines, and we're gonna have a good time. And that band later added a singer and changed the name to Summer Death, but for all intents and purposes, they were both the same band. We recorded some stuff two separate times, and I still go back and I listen to it, and I'm like, this shit was good. It some of the shit that I was writing on my bass lines like still blow me away, and I don't even know how I did them. And none of that stuff got released ever. It's still sitting in a Google Drive folder.
You didn't
On
at least like put it on Bandcamp or something?
No, so I keep because I still talk to uh, all but one of those guys, and one of them is the drummer for a couple local bands. He's basically like my little brother, and the other one is the one that like I think would be able to put it on Bandcamp. And, I don't know. He always says it's like you and Brendan are gonna have to come over with a gun to my head to get me to do this because I keep forgetting to do it and I don't think about it, and uh, I don't know. There's also a part of me that kind of likes that it's not out. It's
Sure.
like it's super niche now, and I've sent it to a few people. There's a few people that have the folder, have access to the folder, and it's I don't know. It's kind of just one of those like it's almost so niche and so rare that if you do have it, it's I don't know. It kind of to me makes it feel more special
Sure.
that way.
There's there's some conversations that I've had for sure where, like, we touch on the idea of like having more music that's private, like just for you, or or for you and the people who you choose to directly share it to, or like just you and the other people you've created it for. And I think that's a really interesting, idea. I certainly have like I certainly have a lot of things that like never got finished and stuff that like
Yeah.
at this point won't get finished because this person moved away, like and like they're just like, this person is not that great at like recording their own stuff on their own, so it's just like, I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not going to try to follow that up, because it just would be, it would probably still never happen, and then it would be a headache as well, and perhaps like tarnish a friendship or something, right? So you're just like, that would have been cool, and you get to listen to it when you feel like listening to it.
I listen to it and sometimes I cry because like that was just a time of my life that like was really really close in bonds with these people that like I hardly ever see anymore. One of them I won't talk to him and he won't talk to me.
Yeah.
And that was right before COVID happened. Was when that band was happening, and when lockdown went into effect, we spent every day together just getting drunk and playing music until something came out of it. And for that time, like that group was like that was all we had was each
Yeah.
other. So I think that's also one of the reasons why like I haven't pushed to put it out a lot, because it just kind of like is special to me and I like keeping it close.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's I think there's definitely been projects that I can relate to in that sense, where it's like there's a band I was in particular where it was like some of us lived in the same house, but we were always practicing 2 times a week, and we were like, we had these ideas that we were shooting for, but everybody was like always drunk or more, and there was also like a lot of polyamory, kind of like, not with myself but with other members of the band, and there was a lot of like pansexual, partner sort of sharing and things like that, which ironically none of that led to any bad blood in the band. It was always just somebody in the band who couldn't like just not say like rude shit about somebody. It was one person that was always like saying something to somebody about somebody, just, and it was like, but I have been like, I've been doing this comic, and I just wanted to tell this story because this was this person that was really important in my life for this like 9-month window of time, that like I just, I'm not even like, oh, I hate that person, but it's like he has like emailed me or just messaged me on Facebook, like, even we're not friends on Facebook, but like he's just messaged me like random questions, like a couple, once every couple of years or something, and I'm just like, I don't, after what, like I said, he would say something about somebody, that person would find out, and they're like, that's really fucked up. And I was like the last person he did that to, right? So like, it wasn't that I was ever forgiving him, but it was like when it was my turn, then I'm like, well, now I'm not talking to you. Nobody else is talking to you now, and now it's me too. And I don't know. It's yeah, it's weird, but like our that band that was already out there, I didn't have to grapple with like the same situation regarding like
Yeah.
the art we made. Just like, and now I'm also just like spilling the whole other thing, but like, but it's like I don't know, names change to protect the guilty or whatever. It's like I don't know. I've always found like I've always found that I like have trouble moving on with things if I don't have some kind of like I'm a diva, like for sure. Like I have to make a big statement and then I can get on with things. And so that's
This
sort
one,
of
go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, that's like sort of my position on like, we don't have any music to release that. Well, actually we kind of do have there's a DAT tape that I'm supposed to get back at some point. So there might be like more music from this band. But so I'm like, yeah, I'm making a fucking comic. That's it. But I don't know. It's like it's this weird comic too cuz it's like, oh, what is this even about? And then like literally like 2/3 of the way through you're like, "Oh, this is what this is really about." And yeah. But I don't know. That's what is beautiful about art though, right? Like you can take so many things from it. You can hold it in so many different ways. It can mean so many different things to you at different times. It can like get you through different things at different times. I don't know. It's I don't know where I'd be without it, but
I don't think I would be where I am now if it wasn't for that band. That band got a lot of the connections that I have now. And yeah, I mean, it fizzled out around lockdown started lifting, and we weren't getting together. Me and the drummer would be on the phone together and be like, "Hey, have you heard from the guitar player at all?" And I had started transitioning, but I don't think either of them knew. And the guitar player went off to be an Pentecostal preacher. So those two things didn't really mesh.
yeah, that did.
And so yeah. And it sucks because like I when I met that guitar player, I didn't like him for like the longest time. I knew who he was for a while before we were in a band together, and then somehow or another I ended up in a band with him, and we became really close, and I loved him like a brother. So it's just like losing that is really it sucks, man, because it just sucks.
What was he like a religious person that entire time, or was it just like
he grew up Pentecostal, and he lost parents at kind of a young age, and I think for him, I think that church is kind of like one of his biggest connections, his mom and dad. So it's really important, which I also kind of understand. So I think he just clung to that really, really hard. You know?
Yeah. It's I don't know. Like we always like I feel like we always like, you know, in a lot of media or whatever, or a lot of like lessons that were taught as children or whatever, like I feel like there's not a lot that is said about what it feels like when you lose friends, like there's
Yeah.
always you know from day one, like if it's somebody you're romantically involved with, that oh, this is the worst feeling in the world, but like when you're that tight with somebody for that long, it can feel just as bad,
Yeah. It's
and like um
it just as much.
yeah, we're not ever taught how to like, I don't prepare for that or like to deal with that after the fact either, And
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you lose that friend because they did something messed up. And like that's the case with one of my like longest friends, is like, he did something messed up, and like then it was like there's fingers pointing at me, and I'm like, this is a grown man. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a cop. I don't
Yeah.
like, I don't monitor this person's phone. I don't know what they're doing like on the internet at home. I don't like, and it's like, okay, like the stuff that this person was doing was gross. It wasn't like, it wasn't it wasn't like assault or anything, right?
Yeah.
It was just, it was real gross. And it's like, so of course, like it's like, how could you fucking do that shit to somebody? That sucks. And first of all, like I want to make sure that I did right by the person that he harmed. But then
Mhm.
after that, after all of that, you're just like, and also I lost my friend,
Yeah.
and you're like, you're not prepared for any of that, whether it's like, you know, somebody being like, I can't fuck with you anymore because it goes against my religion. I can't, or in my case, like, I can't fuck with you anymore because I never knew you were like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, which that isn't exactly how that went down either, but like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you sort of like, you hope people will be accountable and they tell you they're going to be everything but, so you just move on, But yeah, we're not ever taught to how to, deal with that. But
Yeah.
like, I guess a lot of times how you deal with it is you start a new band and you start screaming into a mic as loud as you can, because that, it does seem to help. But you're talking about like, this is sort of when lockdown starts lifting. So, and then the Spiritiste, am I saying that right? I should
Spirit.
have, yeah.
It's
Um, uh,
Spiritiste.
Spiritiste, right? Okay, I was putting too much emphasis on the
Too
e
much
there at the end. Um,
seasoning on it.
yeah, I was, but that's your first thing released in 2023. So were you kind of like, was it kind of straight from that other band to Spiritiste, or was there
No,
like a gap?
no. So I like right. So I started transitioning March of 2021, and like almost right. I think I had only come out to like a handful of people, and around that time, uh, the bassist for Spiritiste, Dave, me and him are also in a band called Shipwrecked, where I play bass and he does guitar and vocals. Um, the drummer for Beyond the uh, Dave reached out to him asking if he knew anybody that would play bass, and Brennan directed him to me. So we started talking, and I started playing bass for Shipwrecked, and I've been in Shipwrecked since. I'm still in Shipwrecked. Shipwrecked still does shows, makes music. We put out an album uh, not long after I joined that band, more of an EP, but uh, toured with that band a couple of times. That band's gone through a couple of members, so I'm definitely not an original member of that band, but it's become something that I don't know if I could let that band go. It's too fun, you
Yeah.
know.
What's that like? Because I went like you and I originally started talking like through Spiritiste, and then I didn't know that you were in other projects until I asked you like, do you want to come on and chat? And you were like, which band? And I was like, oh shit, now I have to find out what other band she's in. Like, but on the sly, like I knew or something, right? But I totally didn't know, and I didn't know how to find out because a lot of people, they'll have links in their thing. So I'm like, I'll go to her thing and then I'll find out. Well, I never found out. So, what is Shipwrecked like?
Shipwrecked is like a uh, it, I would describe it as like a indie Midwest emo kind of
Like a pinback or something like that, or
I don't even know who that is.
oh, okay.
uh, uh, let me see. Like Marietta, Mom Jeans. What are some other bands in that genre? Riley is a current band from Austin, I think, or kind of like them. Uh, yeah. Twin
Okay,
Stars
I know the
is-
name Mom Jeans. I think I have avoided their music specifically because of their name.
yeah, that's
But I
my
know
favorite type.
Marietta, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
Marietta was one of the biggest influences for Beyond the Lake and Summer Death. Summer Death coming from their album Summer Death.
that makes sense now. Yeah. um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. I I always fantasize about making an album like that, and I don't know. I never get too far. So I don't know. Maybe that will happen one day. I always sometimes I get an idea in my head and I'm like, well, this is my idea, right? Like I'm like I want to make an album that sounds like Threads by Now Now, but with like a baritone guitar. And
Yeah,
so I'm like, so I need a baritone guitar and I don't have one and I don't have the money for one. So like it just doesn't happen. And like anybody else would have just been like, well, I'll just tune one of my regular guitars some weird way and then I'll do it. But me, I'm like, no, I don't, that's not going to work, you know, uh, which
that's
is really just an excuse, for me to justify getting a baritone guitar. But I don't know, one day maybe, I don't know. Next year maybe if my taxes don't eat me alive as like usually I'll get a little money back. This time they were like, we want almost $1,000, and I was like, excuse me, how did this happen? But that's long story short. That's what happens when they change the tax laws to where a hobby business is no longer has a $20,000 limit and now has a $600 limit. So like they just decided they to be fair, they decided this a few years ago, but they kept putting it off because they didn't have enough agents to enforce it. Yeah.
yeah,
And then this year they were like, nope, anything over $600 you owe us money on. And so
yeah.
it was nasty. It was nasty. I wasn't ready for that. But I don't know. Anybody out there in a band or whatever, if you're listening right now, if you think you might get over $600 on your Bandcamp or your store or whatever, you need to be saving all your receipts because otherwise it looks like you just got this money from nowhere and the government wants 30%, Like if you have your receipts and you say, this money didn't come from nowhere, we had to buy the records, we had to buy the sleeves, we had to buy all this, then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's not as much money as we thought. But if you don't have that and you have like 20 years worth of records like I do,
Yeah.
then and it looks like you just have all this stuff for free. That's not a good situation to be in. But yeah. So as far as I know, Spiritiste, when you first got together, there was no bass player. So like, how did this? So how did you, like, you're in Shipwrecked with Dave, who's the only one of y'all that I don't know at this point. So you're in Shipwrecked with Dave. You meet Billy and Jan, and you get in this other band. So then you bring Dave over. I'm presuming, right?
No, this is
Not
how
how
it
this
worked.
happened at all.
How that happened.
Okay.
Shipwrecked did a little small Texas run tour a couple of years back, and we played at this house venue in Austin called Arnold House. And while we were playing, well, after we had played, this person comes up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, we're from Baton Rouge. We just happened to be in Austin and saw the flyer." And I went, "Oh, I have to go see my favorite bass player," which I was astounded. I was like, "Excuse me," you know. Um, so uh, that was an interesting thing that I don't know. I never thought that something like that would have happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're in
Yeah.
Austin, and you're Baton Rouge, and you're telling me you're from Baton Rouge, and I'm your favorite bassist. You know, like
Was
that's
that Billy
crazy.
or Jan?
It was MJ actually.
Oh, okay.
Jan.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but I didn't know that at the time. And then I went to a show in Baton Rouge a while after that, and ran into them again, and I recognized MJ. So I went up to talk to MJ, and MJ was shocked and flattered that I recognized them,
Mm-hmm.
and so talked to MJ and Jan for a little bit, and Spiritiste was kind of on a little. We weren't really not Spiritiste. I'm sorry, Shipwrecked wasn't really doing much at the time. Uh, uh, Jan asked me what was going on, and I was like, "Yeah, I think we're just taking a little break. I'm trying to get together really heavy, sludgy project that to do vocals for is what I'm considering doing." I know Dave's in a project with Billy because at that time Dave actually was in the project before I was.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and Jan asked me in that moment if I would be interested in doing, because Jan was like, "Oh, I'm in that project with Billy," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Yeah, how would you feel about maybe trying to come do vocals for us?" And I was like, "Well, I'm already in one band with Dave, and I Dave's already in this project. I've heard him talk, don't want to come in and like, hi, can't escape me." You know what I mean? So I told you, I was like, Dave about it first, make sure Dave's cool with it, and if Dave's cool with it, then I would love to, but I don't want to step on Dave's toes. Like, whatever he's doing, like, I don't want to injure.
Yeah.
Dave was cool with it, and so I started doing. I went in, did some stuff. I don't know. I don't really know how it happened. I don't sent me a little bit of music first, and then I came in and did vocals to it, or if I just came in and I don't know. But they liked me and they kept me. So
Yeah. See, I think I might have heard just like an iPhone clip or something that from one of like Jan and Billy like first getting together or something, and maybe that's why I had this like time, because I remember like specifically like Jan being like, "Yeah, we don't have a bass player or a vocalist yet, and we're not real sure if like one of us is just going to do the vocals or like how that's going to work. We're just kind of, and kind of just like I believe that it was like the first song from that first demo, which was like
yeah,
something they already just came up with, like sort of the first time they were together or whatever.
a recording of Dead Travels Fast, which is one of the songs on the album and on the demo. I have a recording of that song from before I joined with Jan doing the vocals on it, and they're nowhere near. The lyrics aren't the same, the vocal style isn't the same, the cadence, they just was. I came in and wrote a completely different thing for it, and I actually didn't hear that recording until maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago maybe. He sent me all of like the really early stuff, and it warmed my heart. I was like, this is really cute to think that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that it came all this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they stuck with it until
Yeah.
it did. Yeah. Were you a fan of either of their bands before, or did you know them?
I knew Heavy Mantle,
Okay.
and I had seen Heavy Mantle play once or twice. I had met Billy one time before. I think Shipwrecked was playing with Heavy Mantle at Chelsea's, and I met Billy in the green room at Chelsea's, and it was me, Dave, and Billy sitting there talking, and Dave left somewhere and left me and Billy in the room talking. And both me and Billy are very awkward people, so
I've never had that experience with Billy, like, but you know, I'm also like, I'm also the kind of person that like, the more nervous I am, the more I will talk. So I'm like a good buffer for like I do feel awkward, like other people feel awkward, but other people like when they feel awkward, they go silent, and when I feel awkward, I'm like blah 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 blah. So like I'm like a, you know, I'm like a smash in case of emergency awkward person, you know.
I don't remember what he was talking about, but he was definitely talking at me because I didn't know what to say.
You're like, you're like, this person is really nice, but I just don't know, you know, what's going on right now. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't meet Jan until that Jan, I think Jan was there at that house show in Austin, but I don't think I spoke to him very much because MJ was I was their favorite bassist, you know.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like in awe that someone came up to me and said that.
That's awesome too, because like Jan's old band, like Jan's old band literally had bass solos in it. So like,
With
yeah. There was like at least one song where Jeff had a bass solo in it. So like MJ has definitely been exposed to like good bass riffs. So that is a very high compliment. And I mean, you know, maybe one day some people will hear your licks, but you know, but yeah, that's wild. We used to play. Ironically, the band that I was talking about, where the person that I'm not like the person I'm writing the comic about, that band used to play with Arms Still Empty like all the time. Like they'd play at my house, and then we'd play in Grand Rapids. It was like back and forth all the time for like probably, you know, nearly a year, and just great times, good times.
Yeah, I have With Arms tape, and I once because Jan gave it to me. We had some in the merch box for Spiritiste, and I was like, "What is this?" And I knew he was in a band called With Arms Still. I didn't know, you know. Anyways, he gives me the tape, and I listened to it. A while back. I don't remember what we were doing or where we were going or whatever, but I looked at what pretty. He was like, "Really?" Like, yeah, I like it a lot, actually. You know?
it's great stuff, especially for for when it was happening. Like there wasn't a lot. I mean, there was plenty of screamy bands and stuff, but there wasn't a lot that was like that. That was sort of it was more melodic than a lot of stuff, and there was just a lot like going on. But yeah, so like I said, y'all's demo came out in 2023, and then you know you have a full LP coming in. No, I don't remember what you said. Is it October that the LP
Yeah,
is?
October 31st. It'll be on Halloween.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Duh.
which is
Perfect.
not, as far as I understand it, not a conscious decision. At least not on my part, because that feels kind of cheesy. You
Okay, well,
know,
I have done that as a conscious decision plenty of times, I think. So
I
I wasn't going
when
to
it.
judge. I'm sorry, what?
I think that's just when it'll be ready. So we're putting it out when it's ready.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
that's
it
going
does-
to be Protagonist
yeah,
and Tor
protagonist and
Johnson?
yeah, both of
Right.
them are putting it.
What was the experience like recording that as opposed to recording like your demo or any other recordings that you've done? Because like it sounds like it was done at like a big deal production kind of place.
Yeah, so it's definitely the most professional feeling experience of recording with with the little Beyond the Lake and Summer Death stuff. We did some recording, but they were kind of uh, I don't know, kind of DIY. We had somebody do it, but it just kind of felt underground and DIY. And doing the demo kind of felt the same. We were in a dingy little warehouse building where we used to rehearse, and I did the I did the vocals uh, holding a mic and moving around the booth like I do on stage because I didn't know how to be still,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot rougher around the edges than what the album is. The album was such a uh, like I said, such a professional feeling thing because we were in a new rehearsal studio that was being used as a professional music studio, and Matt Baer is the one that did the recording and the mix. He's been doing it I think he said 20 years. He's been doing it a long time. He's real good at what he does. He's really meticulous in how he goes about it, and I think that like his process of being meticulous and nitpicky and fine tuning every little thing he can fine tune really shows and really makes a really good end product. This was kind of the first time, like I did the demo, but like doing the demo didn't feel any different than like performing on stage, even though I'm nervous anytime I go to do vocals or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was it felt more intimate and more vulnerable and more oh, my vocals are really going to be isolated and uh not hidden during the process of this. Someone's really like Matt being the person, but like someone's that I don't know is going to really be hearing my vocals completely bare,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really nervous about it because I don't really know what I'm doing. I just somehow scream, I just
Mm-hmm.
figure it out, and then I really don't know how this process works. And just like, I was nervous, and Matt was such a gentle and understanding human being, and made the experience, and it, I felt safe. I felt like I was in a safe space. And we had, we would take breaks in between takes and stuff, and we would have these like you know, personal, vulnerable conversations with each other. And I really enjoyed working with him because I was given a little direction. I was given a little like constructive criticism, you know, because I'm worried I'm going to go in there and they're going to be like, well, what the fuck is this? What am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
But no, he he helped kind of guide me on how to be a better vocalist and how to record better. And there's a few songs that we kind of wrote in the studio because they weren't completely written before we went in. And I was having some trouble like coming up with some lyrics for one of the songs, and we sat there and like bounced ideas off of each other, and it became one of my favorite songs on the album. And yeah, that process was I'm really grateful for that. I really enjoyed working with Matt, and have told him multiple times that I can't wait to work with him again, and you know, how grateful I am for how he treated me for that process.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really like when you when 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 you do that for the first time and you're like I'm by myself here, like, and sometimes like there's people in the other room and they don't even have headphones on. So like you know, probably the engineer, like in this case Matt, probably Matt has headphones on, you have headphones on, you're screaming. Everybody else, they're just hearing you scream. And to me that was like bone chillingly terrifying, like to just like they're just out there just hearing me scream. And I mean, I used to when I would be in the booth or whatever, I'd be like, can we turn off like all the lights everywhere because I can't deal with this and stuff like that. And now I just like I'm just down here, and my wife like I come down here and I had an epiphany about a part or something that I've been stuck on, and she thought that I was just coming down here to get something out of the refrigerator or something, and the next thing, like I'm screaming something. And so I did get over that, like as far as like, you know, my wife and my children, but like just like it's very rare when I send my stuff out to other people, but I'm still like, you know, like, oh, they're gonna be hearing just my voice by itself, like with
Raw,
yeah, no
unedited,
compression, no
yeah.
EQ taking off that froggy sound, you know, or whatever. And yeah, you're like, oh, you know, um,
Yeah.
it's and I don't, for me personally too, it's, and this is, I'll be as brief as possible, but for whatever reason, it's weirder for me when it's my drums than it is my voice. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why, but like if my snare drum doesn't sound good when I send it to somebody, like I can't do it. Like I cannot, like if you've heard, like if I sent you what you think is a raw of my snare, it was not raw. It was you know, it was already worked on, cuz like I'm way more self, like I don't know. But it's the same thing, right? Cuz you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't let somebody else know that I know nothing about this, you know, like,
Yeah.
and that's how
I
it is
had
with drums. Like, you know, I know other people that are very good at drums, and it's like, hey, do you want to play my kit? Because then what's that mean? They're going to tune them. And I'm like, haha, yeah. I'm like, now
I
I got a good
uh,
sounding kit for 3 4 months, you know? But, yeah, it's, I don't know. It's funny. It's like, you know, it's good that you were working with somebody that helped you like move past that in a way that like, you know, yeah, a lot of people, you know, might just be like, tough it up, you know,
yeah.
or a lot of people might, they might not, they might let you do something that isn't up to what you could be doing, you know, and I don't know which one is worse. Like, you know, like I know which one feels worse. Somebody telling you like tough it up or whatever, that feels worse, but like later
No, he was.
on, if it got a better result, like I'm not agreeing with that philosophy, but I'm saying as a person later on, if I was listening to something that was better because of it, I'd be like, that sucked, but this is better. Whereas I have recordings that I've done in the past where I'm not proud of. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That's a different way to look at it. Like,
We would do a take, and we'd cut the take, be like, no, you've got better in you. You can do better. You've got this. So he
yeah,
was very encouraging in his telling me to do better. So
yeah. One time I was recording with this guy. We recorded with him all the time. He was a lot of fun. And then one time recorded with him, and there's this part, and it's literally in the last song on the album, and I just like belted out this line, and after I finished, he was like, "Whoa, you actually can sing," and I was like, "You mean I just been over here like sucking like all day? Like everything before this was just trash? Like what? You know?" But yeah, I don't know. Um,
uh, there's one song where I sing on the album at the beginning of the song, and Matt said that I have a very unique voice and wants me to do more singing, and I'm like, no, no, I don't want to do that. The only reason I sung for this song was because it just the way the song was, it called for it. I had to, you know.
yeah,
Um,
I noticed. I mean, you did a lot of things like, you know, I didn't know if it was if they were intentional, like sort of like trying to think how to say like did they differentiate the songs from each other like very well, like there's a whole big spoken part in the beginning of one song, and then
yeah,
like you said there's like the clean like almost ethereal kind of vocals in the other song, and then you know a whole lot of screaming of course, and and then there's even like you know there's just like some different like, and as a listener you're like, is it like was it a conscious thing where it's like, oh, like I love it when bands do talking parts or whatever, so I'm gonna do that here, or was it just like this is what this feels like? And I mean, I'd guess that's the case because that's just how we
yeah.
usually
It,
operate, you
it
know.
That's just how the song felt.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's the one you're talking about with the long monologue at the beginning of it. Is also on the demo, and the monologue is different on the demo than it is on the album, but it's the song is the same. And that came about because Billy refused to hit a cymbal for the entire first three quarters of the song. Refused. He's like, nope, I'm not hitting a cymbal. And I was, you know, I'm trying to keep my hand on people's parts. You play what you want to play. So I was like, all right, I'm like, I'll figure this out. And that was the only thing I could get to to feel like it fit. So
yeah. I wonder what that's all about. I don't really want to like, um, yeah, I don't know.
Billy's got funny ideas. Billy wants to do different things. Billy wants to, and look, I think it makes a unique approach, and that song came out really well. I think his reasoning was because he wanted to like uh, because it's unexpected that you would just sit
Yeah,
there
yeah. No,
and
I
art an
sometimes you
entire
do have to like fight off an impulse just to do something that doesn't feel like, you know, like I often have talked about how I struggle with like this like organic versus inorganic like approach to writing parts for songs, where it's
mm,
like sometimes like you're saying like with the vocals you're like, well that's what that felt like, there was going to be no alternative, right? That had to be
yeah,
like that. And then sometimes there's like but does that feel like that should be the way that is because I've been exposed to this kind of like pattern, or you know what I mean, in other songs? Like am I being influenced too much by other things? Like that's what that feels like that should be like
Yeah.
because I'm, like influenced by that so much. So there's this real like, yeah, this feels real organic to like, if that was the case in the beginning of this song, like to hit these crashes in these spots, like that feels like that should be like that. Like, why is that? I just won't do it, and I could respect that for sure. Cause
Yeah.
there's plenty of instances where I'm like specifically like this these chords feel right with what's happening right here, but then I'm like, so I should move away from that as much as I can and see what happens. And then, I mean, I'm about 90% on it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do go back, and if I hear it, I go, "Oh, what was I doing?" But like,
Some things are trends for a reason.
right,
Like,
exactly. Like it's like it felt right for a reason, and but yeah, I'm always like, yeah, we should be doing weirder shit. So like, even if I don't like it, sometimes I'm like, that was a choice, you know.
yeah.
Not saying that about that song specifically. I didn't even, it didn't even like register to me now, like until you mentioned it, because the vocal part is there and because the guitars, like it didn't even register to me like, oh, there's like nothing going on as far as the drums, like now I'm going to listen to that with a totally different context. And if we ever get to play a show with y'all, I'm going to be over there like getting on Billy's drums like, see, this is good. No, but yeah, that's another thing I thought you were gonna say, well, what if I just do it? But I don't know. I think that kind of thing is really fun. One other thing I was wanting to ask about. So in the lyrics, I noticed that like you capitalize like, I don't say pronouns because I don't know if and I know just like the word pronouns gets people in their up in their hackles anymore, but like I don't know if that's the right word for like you capitalize like we and you capitalize like us, and I don't even know like I'm real bad at like school, so I don't even know what those words classify as, but you capitalize like him, we, us, you, and okay, I'm like, all right, so all these words, are they capitalized because they represent like people or a person, right?
Yeah. So
But
I think,
you also
no, go ahead.
capitalize the word time.
Yeah.
And I was wondering like what's the intentionality of these very specific, this is the middle of the sentence and this word is capitalized. What's the intentionality there?
Yeah. So I think the main song where I do that in the weirdest ways is Children of Kali. And I think what I'm doing there is emphasizing uh, us, we, I'm, uh, as a like like an organic physical entity, rather than just this inanimate thing. Um, so because I think the lyrics for that song are, come to see what we can be, as time goes on with us as one. Um, and to me, it's like, what I'm talking about is like coming together and for a specific cause, um, and for a specific end goal. And in those things, all of, the us and the we and are interconnected and inseparable. So they feel like organic beings, of like, deities almost.
Okay. Yeah, that's just that was one thing that when I was like reading through, I was like, "Oh, that's I haven't don't know if I've seen that." So I was like, there has to be, if there was other random words here and there, that then I would just be like, "Oh, that's a weird thing that's going on," or like, an accident maybe, but I could tell that was intentional. I was curious about that. But yeah, the album's great. I think people are gonna like it a lot. It comes out on the 31st of October on Spooky Night, and that's like when the like vinyl is in hand and stuff. Is that like how that's all worked out?
Hopefully, I'm pretty sure. I think because we're doing the album release show 2 weeks later, um, on like the 14th or 15th of November, um, right? Yeah, and we should have physical copies in our hands by the time we do the release show, because I don't want to do a release show and then not have a vinyl to give somebody,
Yeah,
or give
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a missed opportunity. Oh, here we're going to play our album, and here's a download code, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, yeah, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and hearing how the record came about and everything like that. Like I said, the album comes October 31st. That's Tor Johnson and Protagonist, like both really solid, like nice people running those labels. Um, one of which has treated me to ice cream before, which that is a, Protagonist. They got the thumbs up from me forever for that, but not just ice cream, but like a meal before that too. But anyway, and then you said there's a release show on November 15th. So where's that at?
Let me double check that date real quick,
Okay.
just in case. I don't want to give the wrong information.
Yeah.
It's gonna be at Mid City Ballroom off of South Acadian and Baton Rouge.
Okay. Do you know who else is playing?
Yeah, we've got Panama Papers from. You know what? Actually, let me double check all of this. I should have done this first. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, so it's Friday, November 14th.
Oh, 14th. Okay.
14th. And and Panama Papers, both from New Orleans, and then a band called Quilt from Baton Rouge.
Awesome. I'll have to check those bands out. Are they bands that you've played with before? Or
We've played with Panama and Slow Hole before. We haven't played with Quilt, but I've seen them, and I'm really excited to play a show with them. I know some of the members, and I really respect a good bit of the members as people. So
awesome. Well, like I said, I've had a nice time chatting. I try to keep these around an hour. We're a little bit over that, which is totally fine. But I always do like to open the floor at the end and say, like, is there anything that we didn't chat about that you wanted to chat about before we take off?
I'm 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 back in college now, and we were doing a free writing exercise, where you just keep writing, you don't stop, and you don't let your internal critic get in the way of what you're writing. And we were answering a prompt about what brings us joy, and I started out talking about my band's dropping an album, we're doing a release show, and all of that. And after I was done writing, after our time limit had hit, I reread everything that I wrote, and everything that I really talked about that had brought me joy was the bond and safety and pride that I feel I have the relationships that I have created and nurtured with Jan, Billy, and Dave, and how proud of them I am, and how much they mean to me. And hopefully, I express that to them regularly. But I'm kind of bad about telling people how I feel, both positively and negatively, to their own faces. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really proud of them, and I love them so much. And I genuinely, I don't know where I would be without them.
And that was my conversation with Jade Marais. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, Jade. Thanks to all of y'all for listening wherever you are as well. Until next time, take care and do good things.